It is not a special occasion. It is not a once a year, few times a year, special month. It is just as much as you're looking for 9 other creators with A, B, and C requirements. That's it right there. I need us to be a requirement. That's my hope.
1, 2, 3, let's go! Everything you know about disability is wrong!
Hey listeners, welcome to another episode of Everything You Know About Disability is Wrong.
Today on the show, we are so excited because we are joined by Steffi Gonzalez.
Steffi is a Florida-based beauty and lifestyle creator who's passionate about all things accessibility. As she's an advocate determined to normalize people with disabilities at thriving in life, all while educating her audience about what it's like to live with a disability.
She is modeled for brands like Victoria's Secret, Aerie, and Kohl's, and she's the first disabled Latina creator to make Sephora Squad since the program started in 2019. She's partnered with well-known and loved brands by all, like Rare Beauty, Disney, Amazon, and more. We're so excited to have you.
So excited to be here.
Yes, awesome.
Before we dive into the interview questions, let's go ahead and do our audio descriptions. This is Lily speaking. I am a half Indian, half white person with half blonde, half brown hair. And I'm going to be fidgeting with my necklace like I do in every episode. And I'm wearing my usual turtleneck with my black shirt combo.
Hey, this is Erin speaking. I'm a white presenting Latina as well. I have red hair and blue eyes, and I'm wearing a green long sleeve shirt.
And I am another Latina, light skin morena. I hopefully just tan. I have tattoos on both arms. One of them is a full sleeve. I have like black, brownish, blondish hair. And I am wearing a really, really cool. What is this color? Like teal, baby blue shirt?
It's
Like
like a
teal, I think.
perfect, like teal, but it has like a lighter color. It's a good color shirt. If
It's
you're
like a
if you're
highlighter.
listening, Steffi looks gorgeous on screen, which we would expect nothing less from our lifestyle and beauty influencer coming to us today. But the background is incredible. Your Sephora Squad bag behind you, like obviously we're working with a content creator today. So
I don't hoard boxes, I promise.
yeah, that's a tasteful amount. That looks great up there. So let's just start at the beginning. When did you start making content, and when did you decide like this could be my life, I'm going to pursue this?
Okay, so long story cut short. I grew up around cameras because my daddy's favorite hobby in the world was cameras. And I was so spoiled that he used to let me play with them. Please don't ask how much those cameras were worth. I knew they were very expensive. And I dropped all of them simultaneously one day. But I grew up around cameras, and he taught us kind of like the importance behind photography. Like it was kind of like documenting. As I grew up more, I started seeing the value in like photography, video, in the 90s, videography wasn't like that much. But so as I continued growing up, when Instagram started coming around, Facebook started coming around, it was always really exciting for me to like document things, but it was like on a friends and family scale. Um, as I did it more, I guess people started finding me, and it was half what is she doing here and half it's so cool to have her here. um so eventually I picked it up as a hobby, and then I started seeing the impact that it had on me, like not the impact that I had online, but that being online brought for me. And I started seeing kind of like a lack of community for like my community, and I was like, where are we? Like all I keep seeing is people who don't look like me online. And I am a problem solver. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to become everybody's problem right now. And that's when I started taking it a little bit more serious, started sharing more, started sharing like kind of like my inside thoughts and a little bit of my stories, which apparently are very like controversial. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean that was ableist? I didn't think of it until now. So to me, it has been really cool to see both the impact of the disabled community showing up online and then like what I can do for that community too.
That's amazing. Wait, tell me a little more about that. Like as in people were coming into your comments and pointing out like the things you were going through, you didn't realize that you were dealing with ableism?
Right. Like there was certain times that like I shared a story and like either in real life or like online somebody would message me and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you went through that." I was like, "What do you mean? Should I be sorry? What's going on?" And I because I think I grew up in such a this world isn't made for you mentality.
Mhm.
And my family brought me up in a the only thing you cannot do is walk or fly mentality that I'm very used to figuring it out. I'm very used to like if something is not accessible for me, I'm now hyperfixated on making it accessible for me one way or another. So when I started coming into terms with I deserve accessibility, I remember this was like at work. Like no one wanted to make things accessible for me. And I was like, I cannot keep up. Like physically, I cannot keep up with the demands that you're asking of me. And that's when I started realizing, hey, that accessibility, I don't think it's a privilege. I think I'm like, I need to start speaking up.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I love that you started with the impact it had on you. I feel like often when we talk about content creators, there is that kind of like, I felt a pressure to become something for other people, but that makes so much sense. Your content feels so authentic and so like joyous. And that makes total sense that that was your journey and that there was a level of like, oh, this can help me also understand myself. That I love that. And so when you started making content, were you already in the kind of like beauty fashion space? Or did that just kind of find you as you were making things?
So it kind of found me, but I think I was kind of like gently guided towards that anyway, because this is a very, very fun story. When I started making content, my poor saint of a husband has been the director of everything from the very beginning. And he was the one who used to take my pictures or used to make the video. And I would always like get out of my chair. I would always tell him, like, hey, close up, like, focus, like, let's not show the chair. And I remember one day, I remember very vividly, it was Thanksgiving vibe, like, it was November. And we went to like one of those pumpkin patches and I was like, "Oh, I want to take pictures here. I can post them." And he was like, "Okay, there's like a sunflower field. Do you want to go there?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah." So then we went there, and side tangent, I was terrified because it was full of bees.
Mm.
But I was like, the content, gotta make the content. I am committed. So we go to this field and I start telling him, like, okay, you can do a close up here, you can do a close up there. And I remember the look on his face of like just sheer confusion. He was like, hey, like it's okay. I can take your picture like from afar, right? Like you're very beautiful, like with your chair. You don't think that? I should have sued that man for emotional distress at that point. But the shift in me, I was like, wait, the chair can come out in the picture? What do you mean? That's an option? It was over with. From that was the moment that I began taking content creation seriously because I was like, there's a whole lot of people out there that think exactly like I think and maybe I can change some minds. And that's that's pretty much how I got started.
Incredible story, and I love your husband.
Yeah, it's so
He's very
romantic.
loved.
I love that. Like finding somebody who can build your confidence as well is like really, I think, important in a relationship for
He
anybody.
literally unlocked something. I was like,
Yeah.
I just never thought that was an option. Who told me that? Absolutely no one.
Yeah, even as you tell this story, you can, like, see where, like, a shift happened, and I imagine feeling a shift like that would be such, like, a joyous feeling that you'd want others to then get to feel that shift as well.
So then to answer your question, sorry, tangent number 1 done. um when I was starting to make content, I was like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to show? What do I want to talk about? And I was like, well, I am brand new to this whole full body picture thing, so I'm gonna do a whole lot of that. So I started just showing up, just uh, I would I was very into captions before too, so I would write like very cute, cool captions about like, it's okay to, show your entire body, blah blah blah. And it started with fashion, and like 2 months into that, Aerie picked me up as an ambassador. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, now I'm committed, committed. So that was the very first one. It was fashion. And then eventually, um, I grew up with beauty all around me. My mom, my muse forever, that lady introduced me to L'Oreal, Shiseido, all the big brands since I was little. I used to sit like in a counter just to watch her do her 15-step skincare routine. And so when I started doing this whole content thing, I was like, well, I'm not an expert, but I do my makeup. Maybe people want to see that. And I think it was 7 months later after I started making beauty content that I got an email from Sephora.
Wow, what a testament to the, like, if you follow what feels right to you, your story, you don't have to know exactly where it's gonna go as long as you
Yep.
stay to what is true to you. Like, even the fact that your content creation start, the first thing you tell us is, like, making things with your dad, and this is your mom's beauty, like, clearly it's so
Like
aligned
the
with who
writing
you
was on
are.
the wall.
Yeah, and you like, the writing was on the wall, and you allowed it to blossom into this, like, gorgeous, thriving life you have because you just stayed true to yourself. Like, that's just so incredible.
So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm wondering, how do you take care of your mental health as somebody who makes public videos?
That's a really good question. And I love one of my favorite things to talk about is mental health because it is, I think we always need to talk about it more. There's
Mhm.
always someone that is going to hear it for the first time, and something's going to shift, just like something shifted me. Um, how do I take care of my mental health? This is going to sound very cliche, but I put the phone down. Just put the phone down. I love creating content. I love engaging with my community. But if there's one thing that I love even more is my like real life, like being at home, being with my people, being with my dogs, doing things that do not require me to have a phone in my hand. I think it's very important for us to stay incredibly well connected with our real life, so that we don't get lost in the sauce. Um, whenever I find myself like doom scrolling, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm researching. I'm working. This is overtime. But when I'm doing it a little too much, I'm like, okay, it's time to put the phone down. Sometimes you start going down little rabbit holes of like comparison, and I always catch myself very early on, and I'm like, nope, we're not. That's unhealthy. We take a break, put the phone down, go do other stuff. And for me, that's very like important, just to make sure that I am healthy, like brain wise, to bring the best to my community. If I am ever feeling burnt out or I don't know what to post. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know. I never feel that commitment that I always see creators apologizing for. Like, hey, I'm so sorry I didn't post for a week. No, I'm not. I had the time of my life. And it's okay. You guys are still here because nothing's going to happen if you put the phone down for a little bit. And I think we need more of like that. You don't have to feel bad. Like, it's okay. Like, you just as much as you take care of your job, which for me it is my job, content creation is my full-time job. I need to take care of me. So if I'm taken care of, then I can show up more. I can show up more authentically. I My creative juices are going to be like all over the place. It's going to be great. But if I feel like I never can get a break, I never can stop, then it's just going to go downhill from there.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of content creators feel the pressure to just put out content every day because a lot of the platforms reward you the more you post. And I think that pressure on a content creator could be really damaging to your mental health.
I'm also very strategic about my content creation, my schedule, my posting schedule, because again, I'm not just a content creator. I am a content creator that lives with a disability. So that disability is going to get in the way sometimes, and that's just inevitable. I understand that I'm not going to get up, shower, get dressed, put makeup on, probably go outside, film 10 videos every single day. Like, I know who does that? Not me. So I try to put myself on a schedule, make sure that you want to spend a few days couch rotting, you better make the videos for those days. And then, like, I'm okay, like it's fine. So it definitely does take a little bit, I think, of like extra strategy when you do live with a disability, because you're trying to like fit the puzzle of when am I gonna be healthy enough and feeling good enough to make all these videos. But I think the only way to like get a get a hang of it is to do it. And you're gonna fail. I've failed. I continue to fail sometimes. And that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's fine.
Yeah, I love what you've said here, and that you mentioned that this is your job. This is what you do, and I think that what you're talking about is really important for people who are disabled in any workplace, because there there is kind of this like, I won't speak in generalization. I'll just speak from my experience being autistic and knowing that like sometimes I can't be as like amazing in a meeting as I want to be or something, and I almost start from a place of apology where I'm like, I have to do so much because I have a disability. And then I start to think about it and I'm like, wait, that's internalized ableism speaking, because there I'm making my disability a bad thing when I know my disability brings a lot to the table, actually. And so I think that there's something like everything you just said would make a very cool video for someone like our experiences are part of our story, and I think that that's just like a really important takeaway for anyone listening, of that like accommodating yourself and having boundaries around like how you're going to spend your energy in any workplace is like a crucial step to avoiding that burnout. And burning out as a disabled person, I think it can be really dangerous, because we already have a lot of like isolation in general. And if you get past your point of being able to self advocate, that can be bad. You're smiling. What are your
And
thoughts?
it takes longer to come back too. Like, when you do experience that burnout, it's gonna take a lot longer to get back on the horse and to get like to oil the machine all over again. So like for me, I am very protective of I am in a place of n- I mean, I know no one can do someone else's job, but like no one can show up for me. Like, content creation, I am the face of it. If I am not in a place to show up online, wrap it up. We got to close up shop. So
Mhm.
in order to prevent any of that, I just have to make sure that I am protective of everything that comes with showing up.
Well, we spoke about your kind of how you deal with self-care in terms of putting the phone down and living your real life. What kind of boundaries slash self-care exist for you when it comes to comment sections? Because I know that comment sections can online hold a lot of things. So what's kind of your personal brand of dealing with, I'll just say it, bullshit in the comments?
Okay, we're gonna get very real in this podcast right now. So if you are a sensitive soul, God bless, is about to go downhill. But I have very thick skin. I grew up surrounded by such like you're the best thing after Coca-Cola that it followed me. Like I my family had such an amazing world of like positive affirmation for me that when I went to school, and because hello, who doesn't experience bullying? And I started experiencing like bullying, or I wasn't included, or I'm not gonna lie, I became the bully. You're gonna bully me, I'm gonna bully you first. We're not. If to me it was, people may think that I will take it because I have a disability. You're gonna find out the hard way that it
Mm.
doesn't always work like that. So in school, everybody knew Steffi. Everybody, I had a big group of friends, and good luck bullying me because my group of friends were gonna bully you like 10 times worse. And that was the theme all throughout like elementary, middle school, high school. Like I we lived in a little bit of a different world like before social media. Like I think I started experiencing MySpace when we were like in college or like seniors, but bullying was still there. It was never it never got really bad for me. I think I was very vocal. I think I was very in your face in a way, like not allowing, like I remember I used to talk back a lot to my professors because they would be like, "Oh, well, Steffi can do this. Steffi can do whatever she wants. Don't tell me what I can't do." "Oh, we're doing like we're going to go do gym stuff. If you don't let me do something, then I have to go to the principal and tell him that you're excluding me. Is that what you want me to go say?" So like I think my family gave me like a little bit too much confidence, and I never allowed people to put me down. So by the time you fast forward to the comment section, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'll block you right now. So to me, like the way I always see it is, number one, you will never say something like that in person. And if you do, again, God bless. So in a way, I don't perceive it, I guess, as strongly as I should. Because yes, people do say really diabolical things. I just don't think I associate it with myself. I'm like, poor soul. What are you going through? Like this is a reflection of you. This doesn't affect me. So it's I've had many issues with content creation and trying to figure it out and trying to, break into rooms that, people like us have never been in before. But the comment section has never been one thing that I'm like, oh my God, this is getting to be too much.
I I have so many things I want to say. I like one. This is a recurring theme through our podcast, but just like hell yeah to parents who instill confidence in their kids with disabilities. Like it's just so important. So shout out to your parents for that. Snaps for them. I don't think they instilled too much at all. I think they did it exactly right. Like that is so necessary, and to be able to look at something and go, actually, that has nothing to do with me, I think is so important. And like even managing social media for a big nonprofit, sometimes like just random stuff gets said in the comments. And I've just had to learn to be like, that's that has nothing to do with us. This is a person who's just like wants to say something on a forum that they would never say out loud. Like, and you're so right about that. It's the say it to my face, like, and see how that goes.
Yeah, I yeah, I mean, not to mention that like I don't I don't know if people understand the fact that there's a bunch of literal children online. So like your frontal lobe, it's got a long way to go before it develops. And am I gonna get into an online argument with a 12-year-old boy? I have better things to do.
Yeah. Yeah, even like on our podcast videos, there's been like mean comments, and you can't. Yeah, I shouldn't say you can't. I also don't take it personally. I think because like the same reasons like that you had, and my parents always instilled in me that like I don't have the issues. It's everybody else and their problems. But I think that it's painful to see it in the sense that you realize people actually think this about disabled people. And a lot of people think that as well. They're just not saying it in the comments. So, like, navigating that societal pressure of, like, this is how people think of us is, it doesn't upset me on a personal level, just as, like, a human being.
Right. Like, how dare you be such a horrible human being to me and to others? Because whenever those kind of comments land on my socials, I'm like, I know this isn't your first day on the internet. Like, you do this a lot, and you can tell. But at the same time, like that's why one of my last videos, I'm like, can we bring back inside thoughts? Because that was an inside thought. And you're allowed to have them. But like, can you keep them on the inside, please?
Yes, I'm like so glad you said that because I know exactly what post you're referencing, and I think that it's an interesting take because listeners, you're gonna have to go follow Steffi and find the post we're talking about. So uh, it's it's the type of comment that
I love
I
how we're all
find
speechless.
that I find so like secretly insidious in the way of it someone being like, you're so strong and so brave. And like, our podcast theme song starts with I'm not your inspiration.
Cannot
Um
roll my eyes enough.
yeah, so like it seems like your kind of way of your self-care, your mental health care does have a sense of like I don't allow other people to project what's going on with them onto me. Like that's not for me. And one of the reasons I loved your video so much, it's like a nice clapback of just like I don't exist for you. And like that in itself, just watching it like made me feel so strong. And so like it did something even coming into this podcast episode of just like removing a layer of like performance of like who I am when I'm in public and this level of just like, no, actually, I'm not going to do that because if I'm vulnerable for me. And if I'm strong for me and because what I've been through. So like, it seems like you've always had that. But what made you decide to like make that video this time? And like, where are you at now?
I've made a choice that the moment you make me roll my eyes, I'm gonna become a problem. And that made me roll my eyes so much. I was like, in the big year of 2026, what? And it's funny because what angered me was not the actual comment because I know a lot of people feel that way. I have lived through that kind of comment section in real life. I have lived it at the workplace. I have so you can only imagine I have a book full of comebacks that I could not do at that time. But at the same time, what angered me was, number one, that human being is a follower of mine. Like, it's not just some rando on the internet, it's a follower of mine. Am I wasting my time? What am I doing online that I've been creating this type of content for like maybe 3, 4 years, and you are a follower for, I don't know, I don't care how long. It's always the same message. It doesn't matter. And and you felt comfortable leaving something like that. That's what angered me. Like, because I started thinking, how many people in my life, like not my circle, but like in my life, feel this way, even though I am relentlessly never shutting up about this whole advocacy thing and how I live my life, and I don't live for your purpose, or I'm not like a human emotional support thing. And it just angered me, like, this wasn't just a random person that found me on the internet. He or she, I don't know who it is, has been following me for some time. And then you still thought, I did a big one with this one. She's gonna smile big. And then the video came. And it was a one take. I did not make it
Mhm.
twice.
Well, I love how in the video too you talk about like it, if I'm going to inspire you, it should be about my content because you are a beauty and fashion influencer. And like, I've learned from you, I use Lancome foundation. I had no idea that I should be double. I should do it with a brush and then go in it with the wet puffy thing. I do it every time now, and it's much better. And I learned that from you. I'm inspired to be a better makeup artist. Or you also said, and Erin and I have said this on the show a lot. Like, I'm happy to inspire other disabled people. That's a different intercommunity thing.
Yes, yes. And families of, which is another
Yes.
thing. I am I am not your inspiration, but at the same time, I would like to be your motivation. That we could do. And I don't remember if I said it in the video, but things that the a person with a disability, whether they were born with it, whether they acquired it later on in life, a family member that's watching me, you know how many times I've gotten stopped on the street with my truck of people saying, oh, my insert family member here has had a van for years and they hate it. I didn't know you can convert a truck. I'm not offended by that.
Right.
We're going to be besties after that. Can I get your number? So, I've had people take pictures of the truck, take a picture of, like, in the back of the truck there's the company, the conversion company, and I tell them, reach out to them, you can talk to them, and we start a whole very productive conversation that, yes, it has to do with my disability, but we're both getting something out of it. And that's my favorite part of advocating online and just by existing in the wild, when we're both going to get something out of it.
Yeah. I love like giving advice to other disabled people that changes their life. Like it's just weird. Not weird. It's like it's inspiring to me to do that. And I think that's community is really important.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, I think about like we're still so new in this society of like disability being visible even in like the real world. So when you think about like the effects of representation, like this is actually really, really important. So like just a quick, this might seem like a cliche question to ask, but I feel like in the beauty and fashion space, it's really important on that. Like, what does that representation mean to you, especially you're not a disability advocate online. You are a content creator and influencer, and you're going on brand trips, and you're doing the thing. So, what does that kind of mean to you, and what do you hope to come out of this type of representation in the future?
Right back at you with the cliche, because it's just what I wanted to see.
Hmm.
And I didn't get to see it. I couldn't find it. Um there weren't many of us online, maybe 10 years ago, maybe I would have, wow, that's going to be really emotional. Maybe I would have had a whole lot more memories photography wise to look back on if I would have known that it was okay to take pictures in my chair. And if there was somewhere online that I would have found that message, that's truly like what I want to get out of me showing up online. Like, I want to be what I wanted to see one day, and I just couldn't find it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I'm, like, getting emotional. Like, in service of reason to be doing this work, and, I think that it can be easy to be like, "Oh, they're making content. What are they doing online?" But, like, this is so crucial, this type of, like this is we're talking about mental health in this episode, and I think that there is absolutely a component to developing that, like, core self-esteem that can help you navigate mental health ups and downs, can come from that, like, seeing yourself as a young person, and
Yes.
makes a whole difference to you. I feel like it must be somewhat rewarding to, like, have little you within you and know that you're making the content for her.
I was just gonna say I live in a constant state of little Steph would have loved this. Teenager Steph would have like been flabbergasted by this. And like even like 5 years ago, me, like when I started this content creation thing, I was like, but like, why would people follow me? And like that I'm like, it's nothing special. Like clearly other people have much of a better message. And then it's the imposter syndrome takes over and you're like, oh, but like, why would you follow a content creator with a disability when you can follow a content creator without a disability? And like all kinds of like diabolical thoughts come in. And like, I would be like, well, I can try this content creation thing, but it's not like I'm gonna be like a creator with like 1,000 followers and like go on brand trips. So like even the things that I get to do today, I'm like, wow, 5 year ago Steffi, her mind would be blown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's awesome. I did want to talk about your Instagram series. My normal is not your normal. Can you share what it's about and what inspired it?
So it has been probably my favorite thing to create online, like from scratch by myself, because it all it all stemmed from like little bits and pieces of like my life that people have told me along the way. Um, and to me, I was born with my disability. So everything that I learned to do in life is the only way I know how to do it. Like when people are like, "Oh, how do you drive with your hands?" I don't know, my guy. I've never tried my feet. It's normal to me. So it's but then again, I'm like, "Hold on, you don't need to be mean about it. Maybe you could just explain it." Because to me it's normal, but to the world it's like, wow, she does this like so differently than me. Something so simple as washing dishes. I have to like spider monkey on my counter, and apparently that's not normal. So I'm like, well, maybe we can make a video about that. And like, if you could see my book of episodes, chef's kiss, because it's a lot of it. Even my makeup, even how I make breakfast, how I drive, how I do my hair. These are things that I would have never thought of. But at the end of the day, if you put me and someone without my disability, we're going to do things very different. And I'm like, well, that's content.
we all have our own normal, actually, and I think that that's, like, so brilliant about that series is it's, kind of like see me as the full person that I am. This is my experience, and I don't you know, we talked about in our last episode, like, being seen as your full identity is very important. I don't want you to look at me and say, like, "Oh, I don't see you as disabled," because
Are do we need a doctor
yeah,
here?
that's why I always say, I'm like, "Oh, I have a lot of doctors who would disagree with you." Like
um, but at the same time, my other favorite part of creating the series was that the end goal is the same. The end goal is we both need these dishes cleaned. We both need to arrive
Yes.
at our destination. We both need to make sure our hair slays when we do it ourselves. So on and so forth. Like, but it is the constant battle of humanity of my way is the right way. And it's not, it's just your way. And that's good for you. That works for you. The same way people may ask me, how do you drive with your hands? I'll be like, how do you drive with your feet? That's crazy. So like to flip it on people and be like, this is my normal. I don't know what you're doing. That has been really fun for me.
Yeah, and there's kind of a layer of like I implore non-disabled people too to figure out like what your normal is. Like you don't actually just have to do things the way that they're done. You can find ways to accommodate like your needs, whatever they are. And I love what you said about, it's the same end goal because even like when we talk about like the phrase special needs obviously has its place because it's an important term in like terminology of what it is, but when we break down the like rhetoric of it, the needs are not special. The needs are actually human need. Like slaying with your hair, like that's important.
That's
You
very
need to look
important. What do you
good.
mean?
Like we care about that stuff too. And like I think it's just like a really, I think it's such a moving series because it's honest, it's real, and it's also like this is different, and that's okay.
And it's I feel like it's eye opening because I there are people in my life that like maybe they come to my house and they're like, oh, let me help you, let me do this, just let me do this, and I'm just like, I live a life when you're not here. Like Jordy's amazing, but this is my house. I do a lot of things here, and it that was another thing that kind of sparked the conversation in my head. Like, do people think that I don't do these things? That I don't, or do people think that Jordy goes above and beyond and sideways to fulfill everything in our lives? Because that, I mean, I don't want to put him on the spot, but I wash his clothes, so I'm just saying, I do a lot
Look at that.
and fold them and put them away. Not in the same day, but hey.
Look at
Um,
that.
but so like, just my gears started shifting because outside, when you go to a grocery store and you see people frantically trying to help you, and I love that because I understand that there are people that have good intentions. And
Totally.
sometimes I do take the help, love the help. Thank you for offering. But at the same time, like, I know you think I can't do these things, and I can. I know I will never forget one time I went to put gas and I'm in my own world. I am, not to mention, sometimes I'm playing music in my hearing implant and no one knows that. So I am literally in my own world inside my head. And I went to put gas and all of a sudden I look up, there's like three people staring at me. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? What's wrong? And it was just people like, she's putting gas by herself. And then they started coming. They started offering, can I help you? Can I do you need help? And I was like, been driving since I was 16. I got this. But people don't know that.
Yeah, and it kind of goes to show how like people's like disability just sometimes isn't on people's radar at all. And then when it is, they're like suddenly like, oh, this must be so horrible. Like, this must be such a sad life. And it's like, hey, all those times when I'm not on your radar, I'm still living. I'm having a great time. Like, and I hope that anyone listening who is like, oh, I'm that person, I come from a place of good intention. Like, yeah, we see the good intention. I hope you can see that if you're only offering help right then, it kind of feels like you don't think that I have a life outside of this current moment because I live all the time.
And I think it may be also like an olive branch in my own
Totally.
way to people to be like, hey, I don't want to be mean, but here's how I do this, and I do it perfectly fine. It's just a little different. So, like for those people that tune in to this kind of content from she can't do those things perspective, like I just watch the video. Just give me 2 minutes of your time, watch the video, and I guarantee you the next time you see a person with a disability out and about, by design, your brain has already shifted from I've never seen this in my life to I remember that video I watched and she was just fine. So slay.
Yes.
That's my
And
goal with that series.
yes, and I mean, it really is like creating brain pathways, like, because we know that, a lot of things come out of fear, right? Because like fear of the unknown. So if you just make it known, there is a layer to just helping people not have that like panic alert reaction and just be like, hey, we're just humans. Like we're just living life. Well, and along with obviously showing that you're normal is your own way. You're also doing things that are like exceptional. You've had an incredible last few months, but I don't want to say what the amazing things are. I want you to share like what have been some of your top career highlights because I've been following along and the highlights are high.
Oh my god, no. I hate bringing up highlights because it's nothing out of the ordinary that I do. I am just incredibly lucky that people think of me and they think that I belong in those rooms, and I work really hard to one day be in those rooms. So I do pat myself in the back, but like very quickly so that I don't get used to it. And I'm just very grateful to be included very often as the only creator with a disability in those rooms, which you guessed it right, it feels very heavy because it's just one of me.
Yeah.
And although I love that for me, it's also like that's a lot of responsibility on my little heart sometimes.
Yeah, and especially like when you are the first of your identity, like first disabled Latina. That's so incredible and amazing, and also a lot of
Intimidating.
pressure, and like a lot of really right now, first one 2026, like so there's lots of things, lots of both things can be true, that this is amazing and also difficult.
Yes,
But I think that, you like it's incredible to see you in these spaces because it feels like it's so deserved. Like I said, you are just a really, really great content creator in the content you make. Like I genuinely have learned makeup tips from you that have made me look better. Like
that
I
made
really
my day. I hope you know that.
no, like I really love that. And like when I'm using a product, when you use a product, like I am gonna run to get there was a setting spray you were talking about recently that I was like, I'm running. Like, and that is it's just really cool to see our community being like brought in, not from a
Yes,
place of like
yes,
pity or like we were
yes.
finding the one, but from a place of like, yeah, she carved her room and she's in this space and she's doing the thing and we need her. And like you are I think it's really important to remember, like, especially when you're going on like brand trips and doing these things that like you're the prize. Like you're the person that makes the products incredible and amazing, makes us want to buy them. So it makes so much sense. And brands are lucky to work with you. And I
Oh my
think
god,
that like
thank you.
I really appreciate your content. I really think it's so cool to have such like a firmly like I'm going to be here, I'm going to be me and I'm going to be strong and you can't put anything on me in the space. Like that is so important because for any woman in the fashion and beauty space, there is so much projected onto you about who you should be, what you should look like, what you should sound like. So for you to like recognize that you have this thick skin and this confidence that maybe not everyone has and to enter the space and help those of us that maybe don't have that develop that kind of confidence is just really, really incredible. So I genuinely love your work and it's been really fun to talk about it.
I'm gonna cry. Thank you so much. It's also very it's also very rewarding for me because even though I may be the only one, the first one, or whatever you call it is an opportunity to tell the brands how amazing this kind of inclusion can be. It's an opportunity to teach brands, to educate brands on, if I'm coming along, what does that look like for me? What is it that I need from you? Because again, it's not special needs. It's just a different need. Um, just to give you an example, if we're transporting ourselves from the hotel to a restaurant for dinner, everybody needs transportation. I need the transportation to have a lift. Other people need transportation to have a door and to have stairs. It's the same bus, it's the same method of transportation that's going to take us to the restaurant. I just need one thing that differs from the others. And we live in a country where you can make it happen, and they do. So I feel like when they do these things, because there's a lot of times that like I catch them like looking like, did we get it right? Is this okay? Like, is this good? And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is incredible. They're like, thank God. And then now they're comfortable. Now
Yes.
it's no longer that intimidation of, we really don't want to mess this up. We really don't know how to do it. We don't have been times that people in the brands have told me like, we just don't know if it's okay to ask. And I'm just like, girl, ask away. Ask all the things. I welcome all kinds of questions if it's going to benefit the both of us. And so to know that I am in a way making sure that there is no fear in continuing that inclusion of my community of creators, like that's just very rewarding for me.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that like, a fear of getting it wrong really can be such a barrier. Again, like, this is your workplace, but this really does extend to all workplaces. But the thing is, just like Steffi's experience of, like, once that van is accessible, now you or that bus is accessible, now you have an accessible bus. Similarly in the workplace, like, once you start changing your office to be accessible, like, y how many times are we gonna say curb cut effect on this podcast that, when you make something more accessible, it's beneficial to everyone. So you getting to show brands that is really incredible. So I have one final question because, you have been working with and attending events at Easter Seals Florida, one of our
Yes.
affiliates. They adore you. Can you just tell us about how you got involved with Easter Seals Florida and what it has been like attending those events?
Oh my God, attending those events has been, I keep thinking to myself like, this is the point. This is the point. This is the whole point of what I do. Finally finding like the core of my community and being able to show up and being able to spend time with people and being able to learn more, learn new ways that maybe I didn't know that we can help. And it's just been really amazing. I did follow Easter Seals for a while, and it was my wonderful, beautiful, amazing manager, Camila, that made the connection because I would always talk stars about Easter Seals. Like, oh my God, I love what they do, and I love their mission, and they're in Florida. And so finally when we got connected, I see myself, people like me, people that I wish I would have connected with, maybe as a teenager, maybe as a younger adult entering the workplace. Like, it's just, to me, connecting with Easter Seals has been such an eye opener of, I missed out on so much. And this could have been like so beneficial to me. So my job now is to make sure that we keep spreading the good word and that it becomes more and more and more available to people that like me, like, that they don't have to look back and be like, oh, I wish I would have found them sooner. No, no, find them right now.
Yes, because I think that's something we deal with is just some people don't know that these services exist and that there are nonprofits doing the work that they are hoping to be done. Like it's really important that we get the word out. So, Steffi, the fact that you are willing to use your platform to talk about what we're doing
Absolutely.
at Easter Seals and share our work is so incredible. And like that's a way I hope you can be inspirational to other content creators and
Thank
people
you.
who are, who have this space and can realize like, partnering with brands is amazing. Have you considered, is there a nonprofit out there that has a mission that you care about that you could add your voice to? Because, the world of how young people are getting information is changing. And with so much information and misinformation online, it can be really beneficial to have like a trusted person. Like Steffi taught me how to do my makeup. I trust what she's going to say. Like, and I think that it's like important, it can be really important. So I thank you for using your time and your platform for that. And I do hope that it can inspire other content creators to not even just Easter Seals, but whatever mission
Yes.
you want to back, you can provide your voice. And I think that's really amazing. And I really appreciate you saying the way that it made you feel and that like, it can be so empowering to be in these rooms. I just got to go to a few different Easter Seals events, and it really is when you're in the room with all of these people, it feels magical. Like there's in a world that can feel chaotic and hopeless, it is really incredible to be in a room of people who are organizing around hope. Like it's
Yes.
just really
Yes.
important.
And the stories, I mean, every time we hear the stories of how Easter Seals was able to help this family, was able to help that family, like it makes me so emotional because there were so many times where I know that my family needed so much help with me, and mm, I don't think we had much.
Yeah, I mean that's really it, and I love that you said that this is what it's about because that really has been for me and even doing this podcast, like when we get messages from people who are saying like, wow, I didn't know anything about disability and my child has a disability and this has helped me. I'm like, oh, that's the stuff that like my parents didn't have when I was and it's just really, really cool to be doing this work.
Okay.
Uh I said it was the last question. I lied. I have one just final rapid fire, which is what are you
The
hoping for the future?
encore.
What are you hoping for the future of fashion and beauty?
Oof, that is such a big question. What do I hope for? For brands to pivot from the occasional um inclusion to making sure that every list, every campaign, every commercial, every photo shoot, every launch, everything, it's not an option. It is part of your roster to have one of us. It is not a special occasion. It is not a once a year, few times a year, special month. It is just as much as you're looking for nine other creators with A, B, and C requirements. That's it right there. I need us to be a requirement. That's my hope.
I need us to be a requirement. Mic drop. That's it.
That's
That's
it.
it. That that's it.
That's it.
I
We
have
got a lot
nothing
of work
else.
to do, but that's it.
That's it. And you're making it happen. So I appreciate your work. I appreciate you coming to speak with us today. This has been so incredible and I appreciate all the love you've given Easter Seals Florida and just it's just so good to have you in our corner, Steffi. It's really incredible and I hope you know Easter Seals is in your corner always.
Are you kidding me? I am so happy to be here, so happy to be included, so happy you gave me all this time to yap about what I care about the most. And Easter Seals is my VIP to have in my corner. So I'm so thankful for that.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate yapping. That's the best thing ever. That's why I love this show. Listeners, I hope you loved listening to us yap today. We will be back again for another yap soon. Erin, I love you. I love hosting the show with you.
Same.
Steffi, thanks for coming on the show. Listeners, thanks for being here. If you're not following along, make sure you're following along. Easter Seals is at Easter Seals HQ on everything. We've got all of Steffi's information in the below of whatever platform you're listening to this on. Give her a follow. I promise you won't regret it, and you'll probably get some great makeup tips. Thank you, and we will see you next time for another episode of Everything You Know About Disability is Wrong.
Oh my goodness, you are such an inspiration. Wow, you really are. You're so strong. Can I pet your service dog? Ugh.